I got one more surprise for you before the year is over. Coming up, the final part of my deep dive conversation with Rick Beato. It's a blast. This time we talk about the most underrated band of all time, as well as the catchiest song of the last 40 years, and the band from yesteryear that's having the most impact on the new generation, our kids. And we discuss the oft-sighted term musical genius and who are the last musical geniuses on this planet, if there are any. Plus, what is the greatest riff in music history? And we try not to induce the wrath of the Swifties when we discuss Taylor Swift's legacy in comparison to other female icons from the last 40 years. That's kind of me. Hell, we even discuss aliens and UFOs. You'll see what I mean coming up next. Let's geek out on music. You launched Everything Music, your channel, in 2015, and like I said, almost 5.5 million subs. And I love a quote that I heard where you said, nobody's going to want to watch an old guy with white hair on YouTube. You were definitely proved wrong there.
It was a good, I guess it's a good thing to be wrong about.
I know. I said the same thing. I'm like, because I just had all these interviews, and this young kid put up this video of me talking about the top 5 80s hidden gems. And I had like 10 interviews up with like Toto and Journey and all these different things. And that one did 4 or 5 times what the others. I'm like, what? Why would anybody care what I think about 80s hidden gems? Like, I think people love passion, and that's what you bring to the table in spades. I mean, I love watching.
I'm looking at your Toto shirt and I'm thinking like guitar solos that are not loud enough. White Sister. And I say to Luke, that's an amazing solo that's about 5 dB too low. Some of those early Toto records had some very low solos.
They need to remaster their entire catalog.
They really should. Just
like the Smiths need to do that too. Even though they say they remastered, but I still can't hear those great Johnny Marr, which that's one thing I wanted to ask you about is Johnny Marr. But Johnny Marr to me, and I know nothing about guitar, but to me, he does things, the chords, the things that he plays, I've just never heard anybody come close to. I think he's one of the most underappreciated guitarists ever.
Absolutely. Of guitar players that I haven't interviewed yet, he's one of the most requested. He also was really influential in, to Noel Gallagher as far as giving him the first nice guitars that he had and everything to play on at the beginning of Oasis. So that's...
Oh, I love those guys so much, man. That swagger that they have, that's another thing that's missing in rock and roll, Rick.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be like that ever again either. That's the sad part of it.
But speaking of the Smiths, the reason they're so revered is because they broke up at the right time. The Cure and the Smiths came out at the same time, but I think the Smiths are a little bit more revered because the Cure had time to make mistakes and put out maybe albums that weren't as...
Well, if you were to say, what... Well, I know that I don't ever want to be pinned down for this, and about what artists... Where should they have stopped? What record should they have stopped on? If I were to say, should you two have stopped after what record? I mean, it's like, I think it's really important, your point about the Smiths, and it really comes down to managing your career and managing your legacy. But a lot of people want to just keep playing because that's the thing that they're passionate about, which I've totally get and respect.
Because, remember, music was in a weird place in 1990. It was still like stuck in the 80s, but it was bad 80s.
I remember when Rolling Stone had, is Jesus Jones the savior of rock on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine? Like, I guess not.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that's where music was going to go, Rick. I thought Jesus Jones, EMF, Britpop did happen. And
it did.
Guys, they weren't quite Britpop. They kind of were because you had Soup Dragons. And all those great, The Farm, and Groovy Train's a great song. I thought that's where it was going to go because, Jesus Jones, that was a big record for
it was?
pop. It's a great record.
It is a great record. Yeah. Just popped into my head when you said 1990. It was like, oh my God, Jesus Jones. And then really REM, Out of Time came out. You know, they were a college radio band, an alternative band that were starting to make inroads in, in popular culture. That was kind of the precursor when they won all the MTV awards for the Out of Time record. And it's bigger
than you. Oh yeah, I loved REM's in my top 5 bands of all time. I love REM, always have. But you know, what's interesting about REM that's so frustrating for me is that you talk to anybody under the age of 30, like young kids, they don't know who REM is. Like they know who U2 is. And at one point, REM was the biggest American rock band for, you could argue that.
Yeah, so why do you think that is? When Bill Berry left the band, to me, had they broken up then and not made those extra few records and then come back at a certain point, I think that REM would be, people will be talking about them all the time now. I don't want to say went out with a whimper, but they kind of did.
No, yeah, those records like Up, kind of the Radiohead-esque record, good music for the ultra fan.
Yeah.
But not music that was going to open them up to a new audience. It just kind of went away.
And I think U2 suffers from some of the same things that REM did. I think it's just, it's funny. I played Bullet the Blue Sky for my 12-year-old Lele last night. And I don't know if I've ever played U2 for her before. And so because we're talking about, we're driving out to get dinner. We're talking about drum room sounds, okay? Because it starts out with a drum beat. It's the mics in the room, and she's a drummer, and she always remarks on things that are well recorded, where the drums are well recorded. And so she was listening to it, and she's like, "Wow, the drums sound really good on this." And then when Bono goes into his kind of rapping, where he talks in the later on the tune, she was like, "That's really interesting." And I tried to imagine myself hearing it for the first time, and it has such a unique sound, and I hadn't listened to it in my car in forever. And just the Joshua Tree, in addition to being one of the greatest records ever made, sonically, it's phenomenal.
Totally.
And it really doesn't sound like any other record. I mean, it's incredible.
It is. And it's one of those albums that, and this happened a lot in the 80s, where it's that blockbuster album that I remember buying as a kid with my own money, and it did not leave my boombox for 4 months. And I listened to every track. So I know every single song on that, where I could sing the lyric to every song on that. And that just doesn't happen anymore, because it's all playlists now, and people don't really listen to an album. Though my kids have been doing that, because I kind of have shared those stories about hearing the entire album and the thematic elements of like what Springsteen did with Nebraska and Darkness on the Edge of Town, and explaining how the whole album, or Zeppelin or Pink Floyd, is a theme, and and it brings up more discussion between us. And so that they've been doing that. 21 Pilots, they're big fans of 21 Pilots, and they feel like they kind of fit into that realm a little bit. But I do want to ask you, do you think we'll ever have a moment like Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit again?
No.
I agree. I don't think there'll ever be another moment like Nirvana. But it's interesting because the younger generation, they're like reliving grunge right now.
Absolutely.
It's insane. Like my kid, my son is 17 going on 18. He's a junior. All of his friends, they love Alice in Chains.
Oh my God. Yes.
Same like connection with Alice in Chains that we had. Like their song is Nutshell. I'm like, that was our song.
Right. I know. It's somebody asked my son Dylan, Dylan, what kind of music are you into? He goes, 90s rock. Like what? And he says, like Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Pearl Jam. And I was like, Yeah. And then my 12-year-old Layla, she loves grunge. I mean, she really is that she loves grunge. We were listening to Soundgarden the other day, and she was remarking about Chris Cornell about singing with the distorted, like the super high vocals and distortion in the voice. And we were just talking about that last night too.
That's so cool. It's like this renaissance. And I love that Alice in Chains is finally getting that. I mean, not that they weren't getting it back then, but they were really overshadowed by Nirvana. But Lane Staley is getting the props, and Jerry, is a writer. I think they're bigger than Nirvana with the younger generation, at least what I've seen. If you look on Instagram, I mean, people are obsessed with Alice in Chains Unplugged, and it's just having this renaissance. And because I think they're speaking to what they're feeling, the anxieties and the things that they're going through in modern culture. It's speaking to it like no other music has for them.
I agree. And I think that they were so influential to the bands that followed. When Deftones is another band that has remained massively big, I would say as big as they ever were now with young kids. They're really, the new record is amazing. My daughter Layla, we were talking about we were listening to Cherry Waves, which is off the Bob Ezrin record from 2006. I think the music just connects. There's something about, it's like with Alice in Chains, something about the entire presentation, is it the moodiness of it? Is it I don't know. I mean,
I just think that like Lane Staley has become this spokesperson for these kids. Like my son loves Lane Staley. He thinks he's the best vocalist of the last, and I agree with him. I think Lane Staley is my favorite vocalist from that era. It's hard to put him above Chris Cornell because I love Cornell so much. He's just incredible. But I'm just amazed, and I love it. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah,
to see this renaissance, because I feel like it's connecting me back to when I was in high school and hearing it for the first time. And now Mike, I mean, isn't it the greatest thing to see that your kid's face light up in that music? There's no better feeling.
Oh yeah. When Jerry Cantrell came here, my son Dylan freaked out. He's like, I want to come down and meet Jerry and get a picture with him. And he was psyched. It was, it was fun. It's fun to see that.
Musical genius is something else I wanted to ask you about. The word genius is just overused like crazy. To me, I got into a discussion the other day and I thought, I'd love to get Rick's take on this. I think we just lost a few like Brian Wilson and Eddie Van Halen and Prince. But to me, like Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder, who are the living musical geniuses? Am I missing any?
Living musical geniuses? When you think about Stevie Wonder and McCartney, as far as, incredible players on every instrument. They can play the piano, they can play the drums, they can play guitar, they can play keyboard, they can literally play anything. And then they're the most amazing singers too on top of it. Play the bass, whatever. God, there's so many great players out there. Geniuses though?
There's great with the capital G, which I'd put Billy Joel and Bruce Springsteen in those categories, and a lot of the people that we've talked about today. But genius to me is just like, that's a tough. Brian Wilson, Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder. I mean, that's a category. Prince, that it's tough to put those guys up in that category.
Yeah, that's the top of the.
That's the top of the heap.
Well, I was just going to say, then Bob Dylan, lyrics, genius. One of the greatest geniuses ever. Joni Mitchell, absolute genius. Sure. Lyricist, melody writer, one of my favorite songwriters of all time. Absolute genius.
I think you put Joni Mitchell in there.
Yeah.
Dylan, people would argue because of the voice. I love the voice. You couldn't have any other voice but Bob's voice to sing those songs. But
And I was a massive Gordon Lightfoot fan.
Oh, me too.
As Bob Dylan said, he never wrote a bad song.
Wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald, he just had the anniversary.
That's right, 50 years.
In the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah, you and I have both covered that song, and people love it because both of those, your videos over 1 million, mine's close to it. I know other people have covered it too. It just shows that people absolutely love that song so much. And even a song like Carefree Highway.
Every highway, let me slip away.
I just listened to that the other day. Oh my God, I love that song.
It just hits you right here, man.
Yes.
You're just like, the way he sings, nobody sings like Gordon Lightfoot.
No.
He's got something in the voice that makes your heart ache, you know? Just incredible. I agree.
Highway, I got to see you, my old friend.
You open up the Billboard, the Joel Whitburn Billboard books, which I've got all of them. I love it. I'm such a chart geek. Every song, pretty much up to the mid 90s. All these are songs in their top 40 hits that all of us sing. We all
That's right.
recognize them, you know. And then it's just like, and I know I'll get in trouble for saying this, but it falls off a cliff.
I'm glad you said it, Adam.
It does. It just
does.
falls off a cliff. Like you can't find stuff from 2000 to 2026. You can't find me 5 songs a year that were top 40 hits that would even come close to anything in the 60s.
Well, it's all all post-internet stuff.
We both talked about how Kate Bush had really tens of millions of streams of Running Up That Hill, and then it turned into billions of streams.
Yeah, that's a great example of something that has a mass cultural moment. That song at that time, I think, more than a Taylor Swift even, because Taylor Swift is still constrained by algorithmic bubbles. I know people that have never heard of Taylor Swift or don't know any of her music, but but when Kate Bush, when that song became popular again, everyone was talking about it.
And Taylor Swift even though, and I'll get killed by the Swifties for saying this, but it's true. I don't know that she's reached the Michael Jackson or Beatles. And I'll argue that till the cows come home.
I agree.
I have a guy that I know that is an associate who's a DJ in Salt Lake, and he argues that she's bigger than the Beatles, and I can't even have that discussion with him. I just say, dude, the Beatles, it's been 60 something years and we're still talking about them, and they release a documentary on Disney Plus and everybody's watching it. You can't compare anybody to the Beatles. The Beatles, they've done things that nobody will ever do, ever. You know, I sound like the get off my lawn old man, but I mean, the fact that my dad, that was the first thing that he saw was the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, and that's what got him into music. And then, a generation later, I'm listening to it, then my kids are listening to it, and it'll just go on and on and on and on. And I just can't think of a band or an artist that's in that same category.
I agree 100%. I don't want to bring on the wrath of the Swifties either.
Yeah. I'll say one more thing before we move on for Taylor Swift. I've tried listening because I try to open my mind to all kinds of music because I love I really do. I love everything. I even love pop music. But to me, the great female pop singers that I grew up with, like Janet Jackson, Madonna, Whitney Houston, I just don't know if, like Madonna, you can say whatever you want about her, but Live to Tell, that is a phenomenal song. That's a phenomenal piece of music, no matter who wrote it. Lyrically, the depth of it, everything. And Patrick Leonard, of course, writing the music. And he said she sat down and wrote every lyric. I just don't know and that's a very mature song for what Madonna, where she was at in her career at that moment. And even Papa Don't Preach and things like that. She's done incredible things. Ray of Light. I don't know if Taylor's reached that level yet. That's just my opinion.
You know, I think one of the things about that is that it's very hard to invent new music at this point.
Yeah, sure.
And when Madonna was writing those songs back then, it was breaking new ground, and there was just weren't things like that back then. And that's the thing with popular music, is that now we've had 60, 70 years of it, and it's very difficult to do something that hasn't been done.
I think she's a master at marketing. I don't know if anybody will ever touch her with what she does with marketing and how she is with her fans. I mean, she's tremendous that way. So I've got to absolutely give her props on that. What do you think is the catchiest pop song of the last 40 years, going from like probably the 80s on? I'm just curious to get your take on that.
Wonderwall?
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you.
When I think about a catchy song, though, I think of something that's more pop than that.
Do you remember the song Something About You by Level 42?
Yeah.
If I had to listen to a song for the rest of my life that I never get sick of, that's just a catchy song, that would be it. There's so many in the 80s, right? So many
in the 80s.
I mean, the police wrote 12 or 15 of them, you know?
Yeah, okay, so I haven't even talked about the Police. So Police is one of my all-time top bands. To me, I can listen to every Police record, every song. I love Sting's solo records.
Same here. When I interviewed Sting, all I did was talk about the Soul Cages, man, because that's like in my top 10 favorite albums of all time.
Unbelievable.
Stuart Copeland, Darkness.
Yeah.
I think that's a phenomenal song. I love Darkness. It's really kind of an eerie song, and Stuart wrote it.
Spears the Material World is a song that is so unique. If you ask me what one of the most unique songs is, that song is incredibly unique. It doesn't sound like anything. It turns the time around. It's got that really cool, weird keyboard part.
There is no political solution.
Yes.
Just even the harmonies. It's just so... Billy Joel borrowed from that with Running on Ice. If you go listen to Running on Ice from The Bridge, the first song from The Bridge, the dun 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 dun, and he admits it, that he definitely took that from Spirits in the Material World. I agree. Great song. Contact. They've got so many, When the World is Falling Down.
Oh my God.
You know, they have so many songs that could have been singles. You know,
that's right.
And Sting solo, like I love Bourbon Street.
There's a moon over Bourbon Street.
Children's Crusade.
Great song. I love We Work the Black Seam Together.
So do I.
Oh my God, that one's unbelievable. Consider Me Gone, which is on that record, and then Lazarus Heart, that's on the second solo record. That one is amazing. I remember when I was talking to Andy Summers, I said, "Yeah, you played on this?" He goes, "Yeah, I don't remember that." It's like,
yeah, I love that lyric. Birds on the roof
of my mother's house. Yeah.
And I asked him about that lyric, and because that was definitely about his mother and about how the pain is passed on from generation to generation. Sting, I agree with you. I loved your video about Sting.
That was a big interview for me. I mean, not only because I'm a massive Sting fan, but it was a real. I think it gave my interviews more legitimacy after that. It was getting name people and stuff like that.
Yeah. One of the things that's been so fun about doing this is I've always wanted to pick your brain about these things. Like, who do you think is the most underappreciated band of all time? I mean, who do you think is so underappreciated? I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago, that I think Triumph is one of those bands that just never got the clout, mainstream wise, but they're so tight. They're such a great band,
I just think about the bands that people don't know about nowadays, like we were talking about earlier, like REM. REM is one of the biggest bands ever, and now they're one of the most underappreciated, right? They've actually gone from being arguably the biggest band of their time then to, I've never heard of REM. Is it possible that you can actually go from being one of the biggest bands to being unknown? I guess it's true. I talk to my son's friends when they come over, my son Dylan's friends, and they don't know half the people we're talking about. They've never even heard of.
Isn't that interesting? Like I've spoken at a few high schools and things, and I'll ask them, who have you interviewed? And I'll say this and this. If I say Panic at the Disco, of course they know, or the 1975 or what have you. But then, they don't know who Bruce Springsteen is.
No,
they don't. But
no.
What's amazing is they know who Kenny Loggins is, and they know who Huey Lewis is because of Footloose and Dangerous.
That's right.
And Power
They know
of Love.
Kurt. They know Kurt Cobain.
They know Kurt Cobain.
So it's.
But they do know U2. I mean, people do know U2, and I think it's probably just because of Bono. But they don't know REM. That's the interesting thing there. But yeah, I agree with you. It's perplexing for sure. What is the greatest riff? What do you think is the great rock and roll riff? If an alien came down and said to you, "Show me rock and roll from one riff," what riff would you show them?
Probably Kashmir. The guitar riff in Kashmir. Well, if I think about riff, it's like I only think about Led Zeppelin pretty much. Yeah. I can think of like every Led Zeppelin riff. Black Dog, it's one of the best riffs ever. Back in Black.
Just say Back in Black. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Back in Black, man. It's got everything. Walk This Way. And Aerosmith's got those songs I can listen to forever too.
Yeah.
Seasons of Wither was on Get Your Wings.
Well, your wife is a huge UFO fan, right? Am I okay to bring that up?
Yeah.
She loves Skinwalker Ranch, and we're going to try to get you guys out here to Skinwalker Ranch.
That would be amazing.
A lot of people will say like, "Hey, is that guy that's got the credit on your YouTube thing, is that the same Brandon Fugal from, Skinwalker Ranch?" Yeah, it's him. What? People they live and die by that show.
I know. It's funny.
I think I've only seen a couple of episodes. I don't tell Brandon that, but yeah, Brandon Fugal. He's on Skinwalker Ranch. He owns Skinwalker Ranch. He's like, I call him Bruce Wayne because he dresses like Bruce Wayne. He's got the whole get up, but he has every 80s movie prop you can think of. I sent pictures to Rick. Like, he's got the Bible from Shawshank Redemption. And
that's pretty much the best movie prop ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's got the clown from Poltergeist.
It's amazing.
And he told me the clown lunged at him one night. Lunged at him. And Brandon doesn't tell stories. I believe him if he tells me that happened. And I was like, well, then what'd you do? Well, he lunged at me again a couple hours later. I thought I was seeing things. And then, because he works really late, he's a hard worker. And I'm like, dude, I would have gotten rid of the clown after that. He's like, oh, no, I just put it in this glass casing, you know. But you go into his office and he has, I'm not kidding you, I sent some pictures of Rick, like hundreds of movie props.
It's amazing.
Superman's cape and The Godfather, stuff from The Godfather, The Karate Kid, Back to the Future, you name it, Star Wars, everything. My final question, looking back on your life, everything, your career, your personal life, everything, what are you most grateful for in this moment?
Grateful for my family, both my wife and kids and my siblings and parents, that I was born into an amazing family and grew up at the time that I grew up.
Yeah.
That's, I'm glad I lived through almost all the 60s and the 70s and 80s and 90s and now the 2000s. So but family is everything to me, including the pets.
Man, Rick, it's been a pleasure.
Same, Adam. I appreciate
Seriously,
it.
I appreciate you. I always have so much fun talking to you. But yeah, you're a master, dude. You really are.
Well,
So.
I appreciate it. We gotta figure out when I can get you to do this. I love interviewing other music YouTubers. This is kind of one of the things I've always done on my channel and everything. And you're the guy, though. So that's why that'll be the big, but like I said, we gotta be sitting right next to each other here.
Yeah, I'd love to come see your studio.
Anytime, man.
Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to Rick's channel. He's got 2 of them. Both of them you got to do. For more discussions just like this one, leave us a comment. What would you like to see more in the future? It was like an hour and a half, 2-hour interview, and it was fascinating with Rick. Hope to do more with him in the future. Let's have a great discussion below. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe. Trying to keep the music alive. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.